In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to start a business, and this is going to be the best video you find online. I guarantee it. If halfway through you don't believe me, or even in a couple minutes you don't believe me, I encourage you to take to the comments. The reason why I'm saying this is because I know what exists out there when you type in how to start a business, and you're going to find some videos that have some really fancy video editing, some tips that make you feel like you learned some things because you got some general business concepts and marketing concepts and a bunch of things that you agree with, but you get to the end of the video and you don't really know what to do. So today's video, I promise you that not only is it going to make a lot of sense, but you're going to know exactly what to do after, and you're going to be very motivated to do it. So if that sounds good, hit the like button, consider subscribing. But I think you're going to get a lot of value from this that I don't need to tell you to subscribe. If you want to, you know that button exists. I just want to provide the value today. And we are talking about how to start a business in 2023. Just so you know who I am, if you're new to the channel, my name's Videll. I'm the founder of socialbamboo.com. That is my digital education business. I've been running this podcast. The podcast is called Social Media Entrepreneurs for 4.5 years. I have started 5 companies that have gotten sales, and I am running 3 of those companies right now. Of those 5 companies, one of them was me being a traveling salesman, selling things face-to-face for over 7 years. Another one is this digital education business, and then 3 of them were e-commerce stores. So just so you know a little bit about my foundation of why I'm telling you so confidently, this is going to be such clear directions for how to start a business in 2023 and the next few years after that for sure as well, that I think you're going to get a lot of value today. And I just really hope you stay patient with me and stay patient with yourself and take diligent notes, because this is not a fancy video, fancy edited video. This is just going to be the content that you need, and we're going to get right to it. So how to start a business in 2023 with me. So first section is the 5 rules for businesses that you shouldn't start. Next, I'm going to let you know that we're going to go into all the skills and resources you'll need in year 1. And then the third section is how to get your initial audience and your first sales. So 5 rules for businesses you shouldn't start. The first one, don't start a business that you are not the target customer of. And you can think, oh, well, what about industries like makeup? I heard the profit margin's really good. I've worked with guys in the past that have never worn makeup, know nothing about it, but heard from some guru out there that there's really good margins and there's so many customers and it's just a good business to start. And you look at their Instagram content, you look at their website, and it's very obvious that they are not the target customer. They are just putting the information out there, and it's not really speaking to your target customer in a way that you know what you're talking about. And for that reason, you don't have this credibility and trust with them that your competitors do. So sure, some people might overlook it and just say, oh, whatever, it doesn't really look like they know what they're talking about, but I do, and I know I need this. Sure. But are you going to show up to work passionately every day for the next few years if you are trying to sell something that you really don't care about? You're not going to have nearly as much motivation to get it out there. And for a lot of reasons, I have not seen a business work where the business owner was not their own target customer. You want to be able to do market research by looking into your own mind and just asking yourself if it's things that you would buy, what you would want to see tweaked. That level of insight is such a game changer to be able to run this business quickly and get it off the ground quickly, and then also to stay in it long term. It's really necessary in most cases, unless you really are just like, whatever, I'm so disciplined, I'll write makeup ads all day, even though I've never worn makeup. It's just going to be very difficult for you. So that's my first rule. Second one, if there is not an Instagram account in this market with at least 1 million followers, the market is too small. So let's say that you're a Pilates instructor. That is in the fitness market. So I'm not saying go try to find a fitness account, but I would be saying try to find a Pilates account with more than 1 million. The first business I ran that is now closed had the biggest account was like 250,000 Instagram followers. And when you go to these resources to try to find if they can post for you, You don't have that one, obviously. You just have an account that's 250K, which isn't that many followers, and you don't want to rely on that to be the top Instagram account to support you. And this seems like a weird rule, but I feel like people usually just want a really easy answer to just go check this out. And if you don't see this, Instagram has been established long enough. Everyone knows to look for whatever kind of market that they are into by now. And if they are not over 1 million, like if there's not at least one account, then it's really small. I worked with someone that the biggest account in their niche was 74K, and I think it was them after a little bit, or like they beat out that person eventually, and then now they're the biggest one, which sounds nice, but there's just no money moving around in it. There's not enough attention, and there is absolutely a thing of being in a market that is too small. A point that I'll make with this is a lot of times when people start a business, they look for openings in the market, but they're looking for markets that are a little too open. They're open for a reason, and there's not a lot of competition because there's not a lot of money being moved around in them. So just the fact that something doesn't exist does not give you reason of why it should. To give you an example, I worked with someone who wanted to come out with a cocktail recipe book that used energy drinks in it. And he said, yeah, I looked online and I saw a bunch of like bartending cocktail recipe books, and I didn't see any of them that were based around energy drinks. So I made one and I put like 12 recipes in there, and there you go. And when we looked into the logistics of how much were these bartending books even selling, they were barely selling anything. I don't think on Amazon we sell anything selling more than $10,000 worth of product in a month. And you can probably find some bartender accounts on Instagram that are decent size, but can that problem also be solved by just going online and typing in Monster Energy drink alcohol? Just the fact that a product doesn't exist does not at all mean it should. And in most cases, it means that there's a reason it didn't. There's only so many original ideas that are just right in front of your face anymore that actually need to be invented. So I just want to say that with it, but it is absolutely a thing where if the market is too small, you're going to put in the same amount of work to build this business as you would another business, but you're not going to get the results. And it is way better to play in a market with a ton of competition and a ton of sales than in a market with low sales and low competition. And a lot of people think, oh, well, there's the niche and it's low competition. If it's low competition, high sales, amazing. If it's low competition, low sales, it is better to go to high competition, high sales, because you will eventually carve your way out, and there's enough money moving around in there that even if you get a fraction of a percent of it, it will still amount to something useful. So don't be looking for these wide open opportunities and just these super, super small sub niches. Third, if you don't use this product, no one will. And this goes for artists, clothing designers, even original inventions out there. So I came out with some clothing in the past that was merch for one of my companies, and I just threw the company logo on it, put it on the shirts, the hats, everything. It never sold. I just kind of felt like it was a thing that companies should do, is just have some branded t-shirt stuff, even though this was in a market that had nothing to do with clothing, and it never sold. Besides me buying one item from myself, and I never wore that shirt. The CEO of the company didn't even want to wear that in their wardrobe. So obviously, if the CEO who cares about the company the most doesn't wear it, no one else will. Now, that's just one specific example, but I do mean this across the board, no matter what you're doing. So this hat is actually something that I designed recently, and I did use an AI art generator to do it. I started a clothing company with mostly AI art generated for like the logos and everything like that, just because it does such a better job than me as a designer and most designers out there that don't cost a fortune. And because I know that I wear this just because I want to, that there are other people out there that will wear it. The thing is that humans aren't that different from each other. If something sells, it sells. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't. Now, the one exception to this would be if my mom bought it, does that mean everyone will? There is an extra sale a lot of times happening from friends or family that would not happen to a regular market. So a lot of times when I consult people, one of the first things I ask them is, have you gotten some sales outside of friends and family? Because the friends and family sale is the one thing that it doesn't conclusively tell you there's other people that would buy it. But if someone bought your product solely because they felt like it solved a bigger problem than how much it cost, then there's a lot of people that will feel the same. And with clothing, it's funny because there's a lot of clothing designers that design some stuff and it looks really cool and they're like, I love it. I wouldn't personally wear it, but I'm gonna put it out there because I think it looks really cool. And that's not always the worst idea, but you need to know that that is a guess. And if you would wear it, you're gonna have a much easier time designing the clothing in the first place because you're just designing what you would wear. And then you can know for a fact, like if it is part of your clothing throughout the week, just by default, because you like it, because you want to wear it, there will be people out there that will do it. People really don't think that much different from each other when it comes down to buying products. So you don't need that much more proof than that. And really, the fact that you would wear it is such better proof than you asking 100 of your friends, hey, do you like my design? And they say, yeah, that's really cool. But none of them buy it, none of them wear it. If they all tell you, that's so cool, I love it, but it's not something that even you would wear, it won't work. So you don't want to value just people's opinions with like just asking them. I mean, obviously they're going to say yes because you're looking for some opinions, and people aren't going to be like, oh, I don't like it. They might say, I don't know if I'd wear it. And they'll still say that it looks really cool. You don't want to take that as product validation. And I'm going to give you an example of my first original invention in a second here of how it pertains to all 5 of these points. So yeah, if you don't use it, if you're an artist and you don't have your own art on your walls over other people's art, then no one else will either, because you have that extra boost of wanting to put it on your walls because you're proud of it and you want to show it off. So if even you don't have your art on your walls, then it's not something that other people will. So fourth rule for businesses you shouldn't start. If the problem can be solved more efficiently or cheaper, it will not sell. So now we're going to go into talking about my first original invention, which was the aquarium smart feeder. So if you're watching on YouTube, I've got some prototypes here. Here's one of the earlier ones. I think it was still prototype like 12 or something. And then here's the latest models that it came out with. It's got this clamp, it goes on the fish tank, and as you can guess from the name, Aquarium Smart Feeder is a way to feed a fish tank with an app. You can set it on auto timer. You can even use the Amazon Echo to say, Alexa, feed the fish, and it will feed your fish for you. And I invented it as someone who was not an avid aquarium user. I did have a fish tank that was a decoration. I never changed the water. It was usually very dirty. And I didn't really care about the fish that much. Like, it was more of a decoration than a fish tank. But one day I was laying on the couch and I jokingly said, Alexa, feed the fish. And I was like, wait, that should exist. And I just went down this rabbit hole of building it. And I got my buddy, who was a master in robotics, to work on it with me for 2.5 years. And we never sold a single one. And the funny thing is, every person I told about this idea thought it was such a good idea. And except for the light that I'm presenting it to you right now, I think a lot of you can maybe see, like, that seems like something that should exist, right? Like, why is that not something? Why is there not an app for that, right? And part of the reason why is if you don't feed your fish for 5 days, they're probably fine, a lot of them at least. And if you go to the store, you can find a feeding block for about $4 that the fish can eat off of for a week. So you can solve the problem for $4. You don't need to spend $60 or more to get this device. That would be the minimum price that we were figuring out that we could sell it for, was $60. And because you can spend $4 to solve the same problem, why wouldn't you? Just to get the fancy one, it seemed like, oh, well, this is the high-tech version. The high-tech version is not reason enough for something to exist if the problem can be solved just as efficiently and cheaper. In fact, it was a lot more efficient to just buy this little block that you can just throw in there on your way out rather than install an app, put that on the back of your fish tank, fill it up with all the food, and then go on the app and set an auto timer. It wasn't as efficient and it certainly wasn't cheaper. So why would anyone buy it? So that's rule number 4. Rule number 3, I mean, I would try to use it sometimes, but even when I would go out of town, I'm like, I'm just going to throw a feeding block in there because the prototypes are still kind of being buggy. So that was a large part of it. But I didn't really use it when I needed to leave town because I was not sure it was going to work yet. And it was just so easy to just buy this little $4 feeding block. Number 2 rule for businesses you shouldn't start that I said was if there's not an Instagram account in this market with at least 1 million followers, the market is too small. This is the example that I gave before with the biggest account was 250K, and it made it so even though we sold a bunch of these cheaper aquarium items by the hundreds a month, all these different fish nets and things like that, we sold them on Amazon, on our own website. We had about 10 other products that we were selling during the process of building this in the aquarium market. And the margins are just low in e-commerce in general. But unless you can get at least $30,000 worth of sales of revenue, you're not going to see that much money actually coming in. So really, we were making like $600 to $1,500 profit a month, even though we were selling between $6,000 and $15,000 worth of product a month. And really, the only way that we could have solved that was the market being 3 to 4 times bigger. And it just was out of our control. So unless you have marketing out there for why people should own fish tanks and why they're the new cool thing, then it's not a part of the sales funnel that you can control. And that's why you want to make sure that the market is at least big enough. And then the first one, don't start a business that you are not the target customer for. I was not, even though I owned a fish tank and I bought multiple fish tanks after that so that I could become my target customer. It was a little bit too late by the time that I realized feeding the fish is kind of the only fun thing that you do with them. It's the only interaction you have with the fish. It's not really something that people want to even solve as a problem. And there are so many solutions that are better than it. And it took me owning one for a bit before I really saw it. So you'll always not have the insight as if you were your target customer, and it puts you at a extreme disadvantage. The 5th and final rule for businesses you shouldn't start. When you become the business owner, your primary job becomes selling said offer, while your secondary job becomes your job title. So what I mean by that is if you open up your own hair salon, you need to understand that your primary job will be selling and marketing haircuts, and your secondary job will be being a hairstylist. And this is the biggest hurdle that people have to cross when they go into business, because they think, you know what, I'm a really good artist. I'm a crazy good artist. People will love my art. Your main job is selling art, going to shows, displaying it, closing people who are on the fence, taking phone calls from people, taking custom jobs and working with people and closing them and giving them a good price and maybe dropping down, maybe negotiating with them, finding those people in the first place by marketing through content, paid ads. Unless you can get the word out, then you don't even have the chance for sales. So no matter what business you start, make sure you are willing to say, I will be primarily the seller and marketer of said offer, and then my secondary job will be doing whatever it is. And this is just the biggest thing that people find out about entrepreneurship, that they're like, oh, wait, what did I really sign up for here? Because I would love to be a hairstylist that works on their own time. But that old hair salon, they just put the people in the chairs. I didn't realize what they were doing to get those people in the chairs. So unless you want to do the marketing and you're excited about it and excited to learn about it, you're not going to have a good time in business, because it will be your primary job for the first few years at least. And then there is a reality that maybe you have enough customers that you don't have to do much marketing, and you have enough word of mouth going on. You've got yourself established on Google. Maybe you eventually were able to hire a marketing agency or content creators that get the job done. Eventually, you will be able to step out of that light. So I will say that, but at the beginning, you will be in sales and marketing, and that will be your main job. So let's move on to section 2. We're going to be talking about skills and resources you need year 1 of your business. The first one, if you have a product-based business, you should build your website on Shopify, no exceptions. Don't use Wix, WooCommerce, don't use WordPress for anything. WordPress is the worst way to build a website, even if you are a coder. I think in most cases, it's just kind of a waste of time. The only time I think WordPress makes sense is if you are a huge company that is looking to have a website that just looks so next level, and then you hire someone who will charge you $10,000 plus to build that website using advanced coding and everything. That person will need the blank canvas that WordPress is. You are in charge of your website. That's a later point I'm about to make, but I'm going to just tell you this now. You need to be able to run your website. And WordPress is just too much of a open blank canvas that you need to have coding experience. And there's so many ways to break your website and make it just look terrible. Okay, so just do not mess with WordPress. I promise you. If you are already on WordPress, the amount of time it takes to move your website onto something else will be a fraction of how much time it will take you to fix all of these random bugs you're about to have in the future. So get off of WordPress as soon as you can. WooCommerce is not a good solution for e-commerce whatsoever. Shopify, that's it. Don't use anything else like, oh, this new Shopify competitor. The thing you need to understand about it is think about a video game system like the Xbox, and then think about if a random company just made a new video game system. There's no video games for it. The video game companies haven't made their applications for it because they haven't sold enough video game systems for it to be worth it for these companies. And that's what's happening with these other new companies. The reason why a bunch of companies make Shopify apps is because there's a lot of Shopify store owners. So the amount of apps that you have an option to choose from is so much greater on Shopify than it is for other applications, and that's not going to change anytime soon. They'd have to completely take over the market, and I have no idea how they would do that. But e-commerce, Shopify, no exceptions. For education businesses, you should start on Stan or ClickFunnels. Stan, I'm going to show you real quick for those of you on YouTube. You can just make this one-page store, and it will have just a list of your products. It will basically be like a cover photo, and then it will be some links to your social. It's kind of like an expanded looking link tree where someone can book an audit from you, get your free course. They can buy a coaching call from you or book the free coaching call. They can buy your program. You just have links to your programs and your offers and your free resources, because that is all people need to know. They don't need to be like, oh, when was this digital coaching company founded, and let me learn all about the author. Like, they'll learn about you on your Instagram page, but that's not what they care about at all before they know that you have a problem that you can solve for them. So you don't need to have this long blog and contact page and everything. If you want to get a blog going for SEO, then that's a different story. But if you're just looking to build a business where you're going to find a social media audience and then sell them something, just do this one-page store using Stan, and you don't overcomplicate it. This is something that you can build in a couple hours, and it will get you so much better results than if you built an entire WordPress site. It's not just the time. The results that you would get from this simple one-page site are so much greater than this bad-looking site with all these pages that sends people in random directions. So really, if you're just like, I got a free resource and I sell coaching calls and I sell a program, then don't go farther than just having a Stan store. If you are looking for something a little bit more, like my website here, socialbamboo.com, this is built on ClickFunnels. This is a website builder that makes it very easy to drag and drop things. And I mean, I don't even think it looks that crazy good because I'm not the best designer, but it gets the job done. And the reason why you'd want to get this is if you have a course area where people have videos that they can watch. So ClickFunnels, you can make your website, you can make your landing pages to collect names and emails really easily. And then you can also make a course area where people can buy information and get a login and then access it in there. And that makes it really easy. This is $97 a month. You can get 2 weeks free using my affiliate link in the description if you want to go with something like this. And you can put a blog on one of these websites and, all the other basic website functions that you want to do. I don't have an about page, but I totally could. You could build a much more traditional website with with ClickFunnels. But the main thing that you'd want to consider this is if you have a paid coaching area, because that makes it really easy to build, and it's more effectively priced than competitors like Kajabi, which I think starts at like $120 a month. So this is $97 a month for the version that you would need. Second skill that you'll need year one is just you need to make, or this is a resource, make an LLC for your business using your state's website. If you're out of the United States, then you'll have to look into how to do it. But in the United States, there's a big scam. If you type in start an LLC into Google, you will find businesses like incorporate.com that will charge you a couple $100s to do this for you. And on your state website, it's probably $1 to just make your LLC without the EIN, but to just get the basic LLC made. This is what you'll want to do. And a lot of times it's less than $10 on your state's website. So don't use companies like Incorporate that are just middlemaning that transaction. The third resource that you'll need is to make an account on each of the following social media platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube. And you might be thinking, well, I just want to get started with one of them. I don't want to overwhelm myself. I just want to figure out one social media platform at a time. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about which platforms you need to post consistently on. I'm talking about which platforms you need to at least make an account for. One of the reasons is so you can just lock in your username as soon as you can. And the other reason is because each of these social media platforms, you'll be able to put in your bio as well as a link to your website. And in order for your business's website to build that base level of credibility in Google's eyes, having a link in all of these different social media platforms really helps you do that. And this is going to be a much quicker way for your business to rank on SEO. So if you are a local chiropractor, I live in Castle Rock, Colorado. If I put Castle Rock Chiropractors is like the name of my business, and then I make an Instagram account called Castle Rock Chiropractors, and then someone goes to Google and types in Castle Rock Chiropractors, that Instagram account is likely going to rank high in Google long before my website called castlerockchiropractors.com would rank high, because these websites already have that accountability in Google's eyes. And then just having it on all of them gives you more chances, and it's just a good thing to do. And you can set up any of these accounts within a couple minutes. So you don't have to post on them. You just have to get the bio done, which you can likely just copy and paste between them. And then I would recommend that you get some initial posts out on each of them. But for now, just worry about making an account on each of them, and know that having your bio link out there is going to be really beneficial. And also, you don't know where someone's going to look for you. So if someone is really big on Facebook and you're like, oh, no one uses Facebook anymore, I don't use Facebook. But the customer that hears about your Castle Rock Chiropractors, they think, oh, well, let me see if they're on Facebook, because they don't have Instagram. It's not about where you use it or where you think your customers are. You don't know where they're going to search for you, so at least pop up in all these places. The fourth skill is that you need every skill. So you will need to be your own graphic designer, video editor, overall content creator, website designer, sales and marketing department, and the person making the product / performing the service. There cannot be a single job in your company that you can't do yourself to begin with. There cannot be a single job in your company that you can't do yourself. I did put to begin with on this sheet, but I mean that you're at least willing to learn, because you need to do all of these. You can't say, all right, I need to make content, so that means I'll need a video editor. Your business is not proven yet. You're not making any cash flow. You don't know how long it's going to be until then. Hiring a video editor usually takes multiple hires before one works out. Also, you're going to get work from them and be like, oh, that's not at all what I was thinking. Give them a revision. They're going to give you work back. You're going to give them a revision. You're going to go back and forth. All of these different hires, like it takes to hire any position in the world, will likely take multiple tries at it. You don't even know what you're looking for yet, and you don't know what works. So you should look at it like this. Like the main one is a lot of businesses want to start and then hire a marketing agency. They're like, I don't want to learn marketing. I'm going to hire someone to do my Instagram, all these other things. You are burning so much money doing this, and all of the agencies are willing to let you. So if you don't know what type of Instagram content works to gain a following yet, you can't just say, oh, you guys know Instagram? All right, cool. Well, I'm a Pilates company. I know you've never done Pilates before and you live in a different country. And yeah, you gave me a good deal, so awesome. But yeah, I need you to post about Pilates. What are they supposed to do? Like go film themselves doing Pilates all of a sudden? Like they can't possibly even make content for you. So you're providing the content for them. And then at that point, you're already doing so much that you might as well just post it yourself. And now you're just paying all this extra. They can't do it. They don't know anything about your company. It's like saying, oh, you're a waiter? Well, I just started a brand new restaurant. This is the system that we use to put in orders. And yeah, I mean, read the menu when you get a chance, but yeah, you're hired and you start in an hour and there's no training. It would be like doing that. And that's just being a waiter. This is running an entire marketing department for your company. Unless they are asking you questions for weeks and then becoming your customer, like unless they are your target customer, they're not going to be able to do marketing for you, especially profitably, because you're having to pay for the advertising plus their fees, and they don't know anything about your market. You know way more than them. It's better to know about your market and then learn marketing than find someone that knows marketing and be like, hey, by the way, you have to be passionate about fish tanks now. That's not something that you can give someone or ask them to do. Whenever I do agency work for a company, I'm always really selective about it. And I'm not the most excited about it a lot of times too, because I know that I'm not willing to put work out there with my name on it that's not done right. And I know I can't do it right without first becoming their customer. So I have to spend weeks just being in the mind of their customer in order to create the marketing that's actually going to work and sound right. So it's not a job that you can hire out as much as you think, oh, well, it makes so much sense. Like, why not just hire out someone to learn the Instagram and the YouTube for me? Like, what are they going to post if they're not in your market? They can't make the content around it. They don't know anything about it. So unless you're going to do every single one of these jobs or be okay learning it, you're not going to be able to be profitable. You're not going to be able to train anyone. So the people that you do hire won't be able to do it because you have no blueprint to give them. There's no job on the planet out there that doesn't exist without a training program. And the training program only exists because someone already figured it out. And because you just started this company and you're the only one working there and you likely don't have that much capital, it has to be you. You have to do every single job. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. I would love to tell you a different answer and you can think, oh, well, this exception. Go for it. Haven't seen it happen. 5, the 5th resource/skill you need. So I listed this as like innate talents needed. This is basically the only section on here that I'm saying it's hard to learn these things. If you aren't born with these skills, these are a little bit harder to learn than some of these other things. Strong memory. You need to have a good memory. The reason why is because if you learn how to, we'll just keep it simple, create an Instagram post on Reels, and you're like, okay, I got it. This is where I go for the trending audio. This is how I do the hashtags. This is how I do the topics and every little part of this. If you need to learn it twice, you're going to be significantly slower than if you only needed to learn it once or however many times. Maybe it takes you a couple times, but if you don't have a good memory, and every time you don't do one of these skills for a little bit, you have to go back and relearn it, it's going to significantly slow you down. So just have a focus on having a strong memory with this. And there is some control aspect to this. Partly you just knowing how important it is that when you learn something in business, that your goal is to not have to learn it again. If your focus is on not making the same mistake twice, there's two reasons why this is good. The first one is because you won't have to learn it again. And the second one is also because you forgive yourself instantly when you make mistakes the first time. So it's a good mentality to have with running a business. Like, I'm just going to not make mistakes for the second time. But now you're also okay making it the first time. But when you learn it, you make sure you really internalize it and just valuing information more and valuing that knowledge. Like, if you meet someone on the streets that you're really attracted to, the chances that you're going to remember their name versus someone that you're not attracted to, have nothing to do with, random person, it's so much greater that you're going to remember the name of the person that you really cared to know. So that's just an example for you of how you can control how much you memorize it. So just make sure you know that whenever you're learning something in business or marketing, that it is of utmost importance so that you can internalize it better and not have to cycle back around to learning it. The second one is excited to learn new things and quick to do so, which goes to my last point that you will have to do every job at the beginning. If you're not excited to learn these things, it's not going to be fun for you to work all the time. And if you don't work all the time, then your speed will not be high and you will likely take a long time before you'd start making money. And because you're going to take a long time to start making money, that's why you would be likely to quit. So if you're not excited to learn them, then you're not going to do it quick enough. And if you don't get the money quick enough, you're going to quit. That's the number one reason a business would stop. They're not making money. Then the last point is you don't just believe you can do it, you know you can. And this is also something that you can get better at over time. And if you want an episode that really focuses on this, go to my podcast, episode 328 of the Social Media Entrepreneurs Podcast. It's called How to Have Unshakable Confidence in Entrepreneurship. And in that one, I teach it as best as I can for if you have bad confidence right now for your business skills, that will hopefully end that and turn things around for you. If that doesn't do it, that's as best as I can do for trying to help you believe this. But there's something about business owners that they go into it. Like, I talked to this woman at the coffee shop yesterday. So she was sitting at the counter with me and we got to talking. And then she asked what I do, and I told her, and she's like, no way, like, I just started a business, can you help me? And I was like, sure, I love giving out this kind of advice, even for free. And we talked for probably 10, 15 minutes about how she could start her therapy business in town. And she was so excited about it, and she knew that she could do it. So I asked, like, when I'm telling you all these things, because like she was brand new, hasn't been that active on Instagram, hasn't been that active on Facebook. A lot of people in her position would say, wait, I have to learn that? Oh man, this is more work than I thought. So if you don't have that mindset where you're like, I know I can do this and I'm going to figure it out no matter what way, rather than try to avoid necessary actions, then obviously it's just not going to work for you. But when I talked to her about, is this something that you're finding, oh man, this is a lot more work than I thought, and maybe I go back to my other practice where they just gave me the clients for therapy, she's like, oh no, I totally got this. Like, she said, I'll figure it out for sure. And of course you will. Another human's done it before, so why would you not think that you could for sure do it if you just stayed in it long enough? It's just kind of a silly mindset to think, oh, well, maybe I'm not cut out for it. It's really anti-entrepreneur to ever think, man, well, that's that person, I don't know if I can. Like, these thoughts should be far from your mind about thinking of whether you're the person for the job or not. Of course you are. So the last section that we're going to be talking about is how to get your initial audience and sales. Exciting stuff. All right, so the first one is you have to ask yourself where the low-hanging fruit is and establish your business for getting these sales first. So in this example of this local therapist, you have to ask yourself, when someone is ready to buy from me, what do they do? Do they go online? Do they go somewhere? And just when someone is ready to buy, what do they do? That's the question you need to ask yourself. For her, they probably either go to Google and type in therapist and then the name of the town, or therapist near me, or family therapist, or whatever specific kind of counseling that she does. It would be some kind of search term. Or they go to Google or Apple Maps and then type in therapist and then just see where it appears. So I told her, like, the first thing you need to do is make sure you're on Google and Apple Maps, and then make sure that you have a website that has all this information about that you're a therapist in town here. So when someone is ready to buy from you, like, you have to get that person first, because who's more likely to buy? Someone who types in therapist in Apple Maps, or someone who is scrolling Instagram and then sees 3 tips on how to live a healthier lifestyle and how to have better mental health? Like, that person is so far away from buying and might not even live in your town. So unless you're going for the low-hanging fruit first, then you're going to be taking the longest route possible to getting sales. You want to take the shortest route possible to getting sales. And I think as entrepreneurs, a lot of times they're like, that sounds too easy. Like, this is an easy path that is absolutely the right one. You always want to take the easiest A to B route to getting money, because the more cash flow, the more things that you can do. And then obviously you need cash. Like, it's the reason why you started the business ultimately. So you have to find the low-hanging fruit sales. If you can't sell to the low-hanging fruit, you can't sell to anyone else. So it also is the product proof that you need. If you couldn't get past this first step of finding people who are already looking for something of your type, if they're typing in therapist and then not buying from you, then you would have to solve that problem first before you could pursue any other clients. Second thing that you want to do here. So you have to know that posting content on social media is not marketing. It is simply brand awareness and staying top of mind for past customers. You only need a base amount of content to serve as your business's portfolio. Okay, so what I mean by this is there's a lot of businesses who say, all right, I got my product, I made my website, now it is time to post a reel every day, and then post on TikTok every day, and post on YouTube and wherever else they go, and I'm just going to post, and then people will buy. This does not equal sales, and if you understand marketing, of course it would not equal sales. How would you just providing free value online or posting your product to people who did not come on that app to shop, how would you think that this is going to be a good way of converting them? Now, if someone has already bought from you and then they follow your brand and then they see you posting new products, they've already passed that barrier of, I trust this company, I do like the product that I got from them in the past, it was more worth it to me than my money. So they're already in the shopping mode every time they see you. And that's why it can get sales with past customers, or it can just keep you top of mind where they just don't forget about you, so that when they are ready to buy another house because you're a realtor, that, oh yeah, my realtor, I know he's still around because I saw him, he and his family traveled here recently and he's still in real estate. I know he's there and he's right there. I know I can just DM him. He's very accessible to me. It's convenient to contact him. That is more how you're getting sales from social media. But if a realtor posts new closing on Instagram, it doesn't make someone like, damn, this guy's good, like I need him as my realtor. It does not do anything for you in that case. And with products, it can, if you have that unique and that amazing of a product. If it is just kind of a normal product, if you're selling tea and it's really good, but it's still just tea, then don't expect just someone seeing it on their feed to result in them, oh, let me go over there, and then I'll follow them, and then I'll go to their website, and then I'll add it to cart, and then I'll check out. There we go. It has to be really, really great of a product and unique for them to see it 1 or 2 times and actually buy. Otherwise, they're going to have to see it so many times before they would potentially buy. And it would have to be some kind of promotion with it, with urgency of why the sale is happening, whatever. You just need to know that there's a lot of businesses out there that post on all these social media platforms for 3 years every day and are like, why am I not getting sales? And it's because you're not doing sales and marketing. You're just doing brand awareness and you're gaining some followers, but it really is not doing anything for you. Unless people who already bought from you follow you, then you shouldn't see posting as much of a sales tactic. It's a decent one when a lot of people follow you that are really interested in your product. Then it's not bad when you just let them know that you have some new clothing out. It actually means something at that point. Otherwise, it's just not going to do anything for you. So don't expect it to. The third thing we're talking about is you need to speak to potential clients in person or on a phone call. This is a step that a lot of people don't do because you're an online store, right? Why would I need to talk to people? So speak to potential clients in person. Let's say that you are selling woodwork products. So I'm actually I'm hosting someone at my house right now, my roommate's friend that sells a bunch of these wooden products, like chests and wine openers and all these random woodwork products. And he is working a show this weekend where he's just going to be setting up a booth and selling it in person. And the reason why this is necessary before being able to really run effective marketing online is you need to listen to customers. You need to hear exactly what they say, exactly what they ask. You need to hear their reaction when you say the price. You need to watch their body language when you say the price. All these things are very necessary for you to actually understand how to make your initial adjustments to your company in a quick way. And the other thing is let's say 1,000 people go to your website and view that wooden wine opener. And then you see that 80 of them add it to cart, and then 47 of those people complete checkout. What are you left with? You're basically like, okay, well, it looks like there's a lot of people seeing it, but not adding it to cart. Why is that? Well, where did they come from? Well, they came from Pinterest, or they came from this Google search, or they came from here, and I don't know what their age is or their demographic or what their reaction is to the price. It takes so many thousands of people going to a website to give you the same amount of information that one person that you talk to can give you. So if you're a coach and you're listing your course online, even if it's $100 and 1,000 people go to it, you will know less than if you talked to one of those people on the phone and said, yeah, so it's $99. What do you think? Okay, blah, 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 blah. And you just had this long conversation. You will know more from having that one phone call than watching 1,000 numbers go to your website and not knowing why they left. And the thing is you can have a lot of guesses of why they left, and those guesses can be wrong because those are guesses. And then with those guesses, you will act wrong in trying to fix your business. And you need to know that, especially if it's your first business ever and sales and marketing isn't your thing, your guess is very likely wrong. And now you're making adjustments in the wrong direction. So that is why speak to a potential client in person or on a phone call is a very necessary step that a lot of online businesses try to get rid of because they're like, oh, well, I'm going for a passive income stream, so I'm not going to talk to this person. I mean, it's only a $30 product. Why would I talk to them? It's because you will never know what to do until you break that barrier. This is the thing that these stores, these in-person stores have always had an advantage over online stores is they have that personal contact and they can make adjustments actually based on for sure information that they're getting from their customers of how to adjust. So this is the only way that you're going to figure out your pricing, your pitch, your messaging, and everything like that. The only way you're going to figure that out in the first year is by having actual contact with your customers. The fourth thing that we're talking about here, and I'm going to end this video shortly after this because you're going to want to watch the next video on exactly how to do this. I told you I want to give you guys exact information on how to do this. So if you like the short version of what I'm about to tell you here, which is get targeted leads and make them your best offer. If you want to know the full expanded version, that video is linked below and you will learn how to get targeted leads and make them your best offer. This video would be too long if I included this entire sales strategy in here though. And in short, what we're going to do is we're going to run ads to exactly your client online, Facebook and Instagram. And we're going to run a very low budget campaign. Usually what I recommend is $500 of ad spend. And the way that I will teach you how to organize this campaign in the next video is how to get the most bang for your buck on a small budget and to get conclusive data on if your idea is going to work and needs adjusting. The other really extreme benefit to the way that I'm going to teach you in this next video of how to do this is the worst case scenario is you'll get over 1,000 leads. I haven't seen someone get less than 1,000 leads doing this model in over 2.5 years of teaching it, even though I've been teaching this model for over 4 years. It is called my social launch formula marketing strategy. It is how I launch all of my other companies because I wouldn't teach it to you unless I was my own customer for this product. So this is what I do to launch a new clothing brand. This is what I do to launch any B2C company at all. This is what I was talking about where the B2C companies this is relevant to all of you. B2B, it doesn't work as well to do this $500 budget campaign. But at the end of spending that $500, you will have 1,000 leads. Most of them will follow you on all your social media platforms too, so you'll probably get 1,000 followers. And most importantly, these people will live exactly where you want them to live. They'll have the exact income of what you're looking for. They'll have the exact interest. These are not random people who followed you from a reel. So like that therapist, let's say that she would post every day and find random followers in other cities. Like you can't even sell to them. You just found people in cities that weren't in the city that you serve, different states, different countries. So all of those people aren't going to buy anything from you, but they followed your reel because you talked about 3 mental health tips to have a happier day. And then that person in India said, that was really good advice, and they followed you. The followers that you get from posting content, especially if you're a local business, have almost no chance to ever buy from you, which is the other reason why you should not see posting content as marketing. These 1,000 leads that you will get from this will only be within your target demographics and your target psychographics. So they will mean the most to your business. The other reason why I say get targeted leads and make them your best offer is because if you can't sell targeted leads your best offer, then you can't sell anything less, right? So that's why this is the last piece of the puzzle, is if we can sell targeted leads your best offer, then cool, maybe we can make it a little bit more expensive for the next people and start testing. But if they wouldn't buy it at the best price to a targeted audience, then you know that things need to be changed. If this works, you have a business. This is exactly how to start a business, the things of what not to do, the skills and resources you're going to need, and how to get your initial audience and sales with these 4 steps is the quickest and most efficient way to get there. I hope you can see that the reason why this is constructed like this is because it just makes so much sense. And especially the part of speaking to these people in person. Not a lot of people online talk about that, but if you do this, this is how you get for sure information rather than, all right, look at all this traffic. Let's see here. Tweak that. Oh, I know why. Oh, this reason. And it's just random guesses. And you just are messing around with all the buttons and switches in your business in a wrong way. And that's why I see so many people in their first few years, they get results, they make tweaks in the wrong direction, and they still don't get results. So they make more wrong tweaks. It's very obvious that if you don't know which direction to change to, then you are just on a long, wild goose chase of figuring out a business that would work. This is the quickest way that I've seen it done. I hope this was valuable for you. Watch that next video if you are ready to get targeted leads and make them your best offer. And if this was as valuable as I told you it would be, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. And again, I will reply to every single comment that I get on this video. Have a great day and good luck with your business.